Hi guys, this is something that happens to a lot of people, regardless if you're a guy or a girl, wanting your ex back. This is just something that is really, really upsetting, hard to watch your ex date someone else, especially if you are still single. Now, if this is the case, you gotta look at it like this. Did you dump the person or did they dump you? Because if they dumped you, it's going to be almost nearly impossible for you to get that person back because clearly they didn't want to be with you anymore. They wanted to see other people. That's why they dumped you. So if that's why they dumped you and you want them back because of that, you're probably not going to get them back because they didn't want to be with you anymore. They were ready to leave you, unlike you ready for them to leave you, because if someone dumps you, they're ready to leave you and they don't want to be with you anymore, but you still aren't ready for them to leave. So it's going to be harder for you to get over the person if they dumped you than you dumping them. If you want to get that person back that dumped you, the only advice that I really have for you is to go and into that, like, go to that person, either be completely honest with them, saying, hey, I made a mistake, hey, I'm sorry, whatever happened that went wrong, I promise I changed and all that stuff. If you actually changed, don't lie to the person. Or if honesty doesn't work, I strongly recommend that you do what I'm about to say now, rather than run to the person and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to change and all that stuff, because it's probably not going to work. But my recommendations are go into a friendship with that person and try and build it up into a relationship again the way that it was before you two started going out, because you had to be friends first before you started going out, right? So do the same thing you did before you guys actually started dating. Whatever it was that made that person like you again when you were friends, try and do the same thing that you did the first time that made that person want to go out with you, because it'll work. This person will probably leave whoever they're with. Now, if you dumped the person and want them back, now this is something that's really tricky. You got to think of why you want the person back. Because if you want the person back just because you can't find anyone else, really bad motive. It's not fair to the person. The person that you want to get back is actually really going to get hurt. Strongly recommend you don't do that because it's not fair to the other person. So patience is a virtue. Just because you got out of a relationship, it's going to take time for you to find someone else or find someone else that's going to want to be with you. So patience is a virtue. Don't go back to an ex just because you can't find anyone else. That's the really bad thing with breakups, because there's always this point where you really miss someone and you want to go back with them regardless of what they did, why you broke up with them, or just because you can't find anyone else. Now, if you want to get the person back that you dumped, first thing you need to do is think why you dumped them, because that's going to be a huge, huge characteristic. Because if you dump this person because they hurt you, they cheated on you, they were abusive, whatever, regardless of how much you miss them, or if you can't find anyone else, don't go back to that person, because it's just not worth it. Because they're your ex for a reason. Why go back to that ex and waste time with that person that's going to probably do the same things that made you dump them in the first place, rather than take the time to yourself, build yourself to be stronger, gain independence, and find somebody else that is actually going to be right for you, because you don't want to just go back to someone because you can't find anyone else, especially if that person did something that made you want to break up with them, clearly, because they're your ex. So whatever reason you dumped that person for, just take into consideration why you dumped them. If you dumped them because you were bored or something, that's a really stupid reason to dump someone, but I mean, I guess that's an okay reason to go back with someone because you made a mistake, you missed them that way, but as long as the person didn't do anything to hurt you that made you want to dump them, that's fine. So same thing, if you want this person back, build a friendship with them, wait till it evolves, and so on. If the person hurt you or did whatever it was that made you dump them, I strongly recommend that you don't get back with them, because clearly whatever they did enough to make you dump them. If Now I'm going to start going back to the both of if you were dumped or if you were the dumpee, because this kind of applies to both. Whatever reason you dumped them, whatever reason you were dumped, is it worth it going back out with that person when you can find someone else? If you were the dumpee, I recommend that you just either find someone else, try and build a relationship with the person from the ground up, find whatever it was that made them fall in love with you, and go from there, rather than be the person that dumped you and go back to that person. Because If the relationship was bad in the first place, I recommend that you don't go back out with that person. There are tons of other people out there, regardless if it's going to take you a while to find someone else. If you really are madly in love with this person, you see you made a mistake, sometimes that's your best bet, just flat out telling them rather than build something, because it's not going to work. Now, if you really want this person back and they're seeing someone else, regardless of if you were the dumpee or you were dumped, or, well, the dumpee or the dumper, just, there's one thing that you really can't do. Regardless of how much you want to go up to that person and tear their relationship apart by wooing them, doing whatever it is that you want to do, strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that you don't do that. Because if you go into that person's relationship and end it, that person is going to hate you for making their relationship that they're in with the other person personally, completely and totally hell. They are going to hate you for ruining their relationship, and you're probably not going to be able to get that person back because they hate you now. And also, look at it this way. How would you feel if you were in a relationship with someone and their ex came into your relationship and tore it apart? It would suck, right? You would be pretty upset. So, you going into that person's relationship and tearing it apart, what would you do if you finally get the person that you want and their ex, that person that just got their heart broken because of you, comes into your relationship and tears it apart? You don't want that. So that is the worst thing you could ever do when it comes to getting an ex back. The only advice that I really have for you guys, start from a friendship, build it up, see what happens, go from there. And always keep into consideration why you dumped this person, what the relationship was like, because chances are that's just going to happen again. If this person cheated on you or hurt you, they didn't love you enough to actually just do whatever it was, well, I take that back. If this person actually loved you, they wouldn't have done whatever it was that made you dump them, because if they really loved you, the thought of you even leaving them or them even doing something that would slightly make you leave them, whether it's cheating, hurting you, abuse, mental abuse, stress, all that stuff, if the person really loved you, they wouldn't have done it in the first place because they wouldn't want you to leave them. So take into consideration why you guys broke up, whether you were the dumpee or the dumper, what the relationship was like, and go from there, because chances are you're better off not going out with this